Good afternoon. My name is Josh Peschel, and I'm from the Department of Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering. Every once in a while, not often, an idea comes along that combines science and engineering, the arts, and a little bit of magic with the potential to disrupt an entire industry. In my talk today, I'm going to talk to you about that concept, from Disney to digital livestock. But I want to share with you some numbers first before I get started with all of that. In the US today, we currently have about 94 million head of cattle, representing an $80 billion revenue generating industry. Iowa is a top 5 contributor in that marketplace. And each year we have about 4% or 4 million non-predatory deaths of cattle and calves in the industry. But these mortality numbers are problematic because they suggest about a $3.5 billion revenue loss. Out of that is about a $3 billion cost for production that happens whether the animal lives or it dies. If it lives, then you get to recoup that cost. If it dies, then it's a sunk cost. So our question is, how can we reduce the number of non-predatory deaths in cattle? So in any system, whether it involves cattle or corn or cows, you have to measure to manage. And when it comes to livestock, measuring is very difficult. The state of the practice is currently somewhere between yardsticks and the Internet of Things for cattle. But economics and uncertainty are primary concerns because really these are proxies for behavioral measurement, and the cost per data point is actually pretty high. Now, both methods share one thing in common that's really important. They don't capture the visual observations and sense-making that an experienced human caretaker could provide to an animal. So in my work, we've gone beyond the yardstick and we've gone beyond the Internet of cattle. My students and collaborators and I have created a visual sensing and sense-making approach to characterizing the continuous behavioral characterization of livestock. And our goal, as an individual animal expresses these states over time, is to know when the calf is getting sick before it does so it can be treated to become healthy and not affect other animals. But there's just one problem. Cattle, like pets and small children, don't often want to cooperate when it's time to take a picture. So it turns out we can record an enormous amount of information and not get anything meaningful whatsoever out of all of this video data that we're collecting. And this, friends, is where the magic comes in. What we really need to do is be able to train a visual classifier, which is based on what an animal or group of animals is doing in terms of just the normal activities, but on demand and at a frequency high enough that the computer would be able to know what it's looking for in the behavioral state. And this is important, especially when it comes to anomalies, because this is what informs health predictions. And that's what we've been able to show, that the same open source tool and approaches that allow rapid development of animations can be used in a similar way to train visual classifiers, but only in a matter of minutes, at a cost per data point that's very, very low. And this new approach allows us to also play with different things like camera angles and shadows and lighting, all the factors that come up when you would go out and actually place the camera so we can know where the camera should go beforehand before we even collect the data in the first place. But we're not stopping there. Turns out we can animate other things like pigs and poultry, which only become more problematic to observe. As you can imagine, the numbers increase in places where they're raised. So we've been talking a lot about digital agriculture here at Iowa State. Today, digital livestock joins that theme, and we've been able to do so using just a little magic from Disney. Thank you.